success. Inside the hole, it seems that we have a hyena. And there we go. So there is Gwen, who is one of the members of the clan that we see in this area, and I thought it might be a little bit warm and that we wouldn't actually get to see her, so I'm really happy that she is there. You can see she's tucked herself up inside that hole. It's probably very nice and shady inside there, and there's a beautiful wind that is coming over our backs and will be going straight into that hole. So it is a perfect place for a hyena to be sleeping, waiting for the heat to dissipate before going out this evening and starting to look around for food. Now, we think that she is using this as a den site. She does have 2 young ones, but they seem to be quite skittish and haven't really spent too much time around the den, and they are quite old, so they're not really bound to it. So sometimes when we arrive here, they do walk off or jog off. So we've been trying to spend a bit of time and get them relaxed and get them used to our presence. As you can see, this female doesn't care in the slightest. She's completely at home with the vehicles. She's not worried at all, and she has a very sleepy face. It's obviously been a long night and a very hot day, and so now it is time to have a nice nap. But look at those ears. You can see the ears are twitching slightly, and that is because of all the flies that are flying around here. There's lots of little flies. You can see them landing on her face, and so they are going to be irritating her, and that's why the ears will flick a little bit. So, Brandon, you were asking, what do hyenas eat? Well, hyenas have quite a varied array of food items that they will go for. They go for all kinds of different animals, so they are meat eaters, but they will either scavenge, which means they will go and try and steal from other animals like lions or leopards or cheetah, even the wild dogs. And if they do not scavenge from those, they do hunt for themselves. And when they're hunting, depending on the size of the clan and the number of hyenas that are together, will determine what they go after. I have seen hyenas going after fully grown male giraffe, big buffalo bulls, but generally they will go after small antelope like impalas and bushbuck and those kind of things. Now, Cameron, since we were looking at those big ears of that hyena, you would like to know why they have such big ears. So the reason why they have big ears is so that they can hear very well. These guys rely on their hearing to be able to find animals or to find carcasses that they can then potentially steal. So when they hear other animals chasing something or killing it, that animal that's being killed will make a lot of noise, and so with those big ears they're able to trap lots of sound in the ears, and they can then go and find what's making all that noise and then potentially either get a meal or try and chase out any intruders that might be in that area. So that is why they have those big ears. It's basically like a big satellite dish that catches all the sound waves. Well, yeah, the hyenas laugh because of a communication to one another. So when they are laughing like that, it is a sign that they are very excited. So that's when they are in a stage of excitement and they want all the others to come in and join and to see what's going on. So it's basically serving as a way of communicating to the others that they've found food and they've found something to be able to eat, and so all the others can then come in and help this one try and get that food. So it's more out of a communication than anything else, and they have quite a varied array of sounds that they make. Sometimes they'll laugh, sometimes they will howl a little bit. She's very sleepy. So while she's lying in her den like this, and part of the reason why they use dens is because they do have predators. So Jill, you were asking if they have predators. There are a lot of animals out here that will try and chase and go after hyenas, not because of food, but because they see a hyena as a threat. So you can imagine these hyenas, especially if it's a female with little babies, so whether it be lion or leopard, wild dogs, cheetah, the hyena is a threat to those little babies. It will go after those babies and try to kill them. And so you'll find that the lions and leopard will try and chase hyenas whenever they can, and if they catch them, they will sometimes even kill them. But you'll find with the cats is that they're a little bit nervous of going after hyenas because hyenas have very strong jaw, and they're able to bite very, very hard. And so the predator, like lions, have to be very, very careful, because if they get bitten on their leg, it could be quite a lot of damage that can be done. So sometimes you'll find a little standoff, and then they chase them for a little bit and leave them alone. It's really only the male lions that will actually go after hyenas and try and catch them and maim and hurt them. So you can see she's very, very sleepy, and it's probably why Becca wants to know if these hyenas hibernate in the winter. Well, Becca, they don't hibernate in the winter. The animals down here in South Africa are pretty much active all year round, particularly the mammals. They have digestive systems that work very, very quickly, and especially the hyenas, they have a strong stomach acid, and they tend to digest things too fast. So for them, they wouldn't be able to hibernate because they would end up probably starving to death. So hyenas are active all the way out throughout the winter. You'll find them coming out and moving around at night, and they then look for food pretty much every single day. I've seen hyenas with big fat full bellies still rushing in on carcasses trying to steal them, so they're not afraid to eat as much as possible, and if it's winter, summer, spring or the fall, they don't worry at all. But isn't that the perfect little house that they have there? It's a great place to sleep and to rest. Like I say, it's quite warm today. It's about 88 Fahrenheit or 31 degrees Celsius, so too hot to be lying out in the sun. So a shady spot like that is really the best place to be. And you can see she's actually got quite a nice view there, looking out over this little sort of ridge that comes down, and she's able to then see if anything is approaching towards her mound. And like I was saying, there's also a breeze that comes down the slope and into that hole, and makes it really very, very pleasant. So while we're chatting about the den and this female in her den, Annalie wants to know if hyenas have more than one young one. Yes, they do, Annalie. They have as many as 2. So it's most that they will have. You'll find sometimes they give birth to 1, but most of the time it's 2 of them, and they will grow up together and spend the first few months of their life roaming around this little termite mound. And this female will go back and forth getting food, and at first she'll come back to suckle and give them milk, but after a few months, 4 or 5 months, she's already starting to bring back pieces of meat, and those little ones will feed off the meat. And by the time they're about a year, they are free roaming with her, they're moving around, and they'll travel with her and become a full functioning member of the clan. But the hyenas always have this bad reputation of being ugly, horrible animals. But when they see them like this, they really are quite cute. It looks like a dog just lying in its little hole there. Very, very sweet face. You can see with her that her ears, though, are quite badly damaged. So she's got lots of bite marks on her ears. And that's because she's unfortunately one of our low-ranking females. She's not a female that ranks highly in the clan. And so unfortunately she gets a little bit beaten up by the bigger, stronger females. They tend to bite her ears, and that's just a way of dominating her. So that's why she's so Sophia, that is a really good question. Sophia is asking, why can hyenas bite so hard but their teeth don't fall out? Well, they've got very, very strong teeth, so their teeth are able to bite into bone and things like that, and the power comes from the muscle. And so because the force is coming straight down, the tooth itself is not being moved around too much, and it's not going to hurt. It's planted inside the bone, and so there's not too much movement. If she had to turn too fast, then yes, it can break teeth, and sometimes you will find hyenas with broken teeth, but generally their teeth are very, very strong because of the amount of calcium that they eat. They eat a lot of bone, and so that calcium helps to strengthen those teeth and keep them nice and strong so that they don't break. And like I was saying, all the power for their bite comes in their muscle structure around their head. They have a very special shaped head with a little crest bone and big muscles that attach to that, so that's where all the power for the bite comes from. Alright, so while we sit here with Gwen for a little bit longer and see maybe if one of her young ones will appear, we're going to go to James, who I believe has got a little surprise. Our scavenger is still very much fast asleep, and I don't think she's going to come out there. Given that we're sitting directly in the sun, it is quite warm out here, so I'm pretty sure where she is far better. And like I say, it's still very bright and very early in the afternoon, so she's not going to get up and do too much as yet. It was a gamble to come at this time. I thought that we wouldn't see too much. I thought maybe she'd be buried deep inside there, or wouldn't be lying anywhere near the mound. But we got very, very lucky, and I'll definitely try probably come back a little bit later as well, just to see if maybe she's out with her little ones, and to see if there's any sign of the little ones that are with her. But for now, I would imagine everybody's fast asleep, and if the little babies are inside there, they will be sleeping away as well. Now, I know Jamie's had a few sightings of these little ones. She told me that they're a little bit nervous and they tend to move away, so maybe that's why we can't see them. They've tucked themselves deep inside that mound so that we can't see them, and they know that if Mom is lying at the entrance there, there's going to be no problem. So Lydia, they can kill their own species. I have seen hyenas go after one another, and that's generally because out of a territorial thing. So it's if two clans come together and they've become into an area that they both deem as theirs, then they will fight with one another and sometimes kill each other. So I have seen that, but in terms of if it's the same clan and it's a member of that clan, very, very seldom will they attack one another. They know that the more that they are of them, the more likelihood they can dominate other animals and other clans and even lions, and they can get themselves to a point where they're able to then hunt lions and well, not hunt lions, sorry, but chase lions off their carcasses and get the food from them. So they try and keep as many members in the clan as possible. They don't really want to kill one another, because ultimately they're then going to have very small clans and life is going to be a lot harder. So they end up with a situation where they prefer to be in big groups, and so they protect one another as much as possible unless they're from a rival clan. So in the case with this female and why she's so beaten up, it's just because she's lower ranking. So the only reason she's being beaten up is just to establish dominance. It's to make sure that she knows that she's not the dominant female, and those dominant females will be the ones that have access to food more than the others. They will also get their babies more food as well. So Blakey, with the hyenas and giving birth, and you want to know how long it will be until the little ones can leave their mothers. Well, generally they kind of stick around within the clan and don't distribute out too much, especially if they're a female. And so normally they are with the moms throughout their life if they're a little girl. Sometimes you'll find the males will distribute out or a female and go and start their own clan, but that's quite rare. But in terms of being out of the mound and not dependent on their mother anymore, it's normally at about 8 months to a year is when they are no longer dependent. And look at those teeth, aren't they incredible? You can see her teeth are quite worn, so she's quite an old girl. Let's see if she's going to come out. She's busy sniffing, and wouldn't it be nice if she did come out? No, I think just readjusted. Maybe she was sleeping on one of her feet and her foot went to sleep, and so she just repositioned. Well, Jade is wondering how she's still alive, given that she's quite beaten up and she is quite old with those worn teeth. Well, Jade, hyenas are very efficient animals and they are very resilient and tough, and so she will still be scavenging off all kinds of things. And so let's say a leopard kills an impala and they eat that impala for a few days, and there's a little bit of bone and meat that's left over. They will then come in and eat that bone and meat that's 3-4 days old, and so at the end of the day they will utilize any bit of nutrients that they can. So it's not just about catching fresh food. They find food all over the place. They'll even eat little tortoises, insects if they have to, terrapins, which are the little freshwater turtles, and they'll go after anything to keep themselves sustained and healthy. Well, Mia, given that she's sleeping, Mia wants to know that whether or not they are nocturnal. So most of their activity is at night. Generally it will be the time of day where it's cooler so they can move big distances. It's also when they know that the predators are going to be more active, so you're going to have a situation where leopard and lion are a little bit more active, and so it's times when they can follow those cats hunting. But hyenas can be active during the day. I have seen them active in bright sunlight in the middle of the day, particularly if they hear something. So we were talking about those big ears. If they pick up some sort of sound of an animal dying or predators fighting over something, then they'll go rushing in, even if it's the middle of the day. But they really are only very active at night. That's when they actively will go look around for things. So Jack and Sawyer, you want to know whether this female could potentially look after other mothers' babies? Well, not directly. So she's not going to come and suckle those other babies or provide milk for them, but she will provide protection for them. And if they are a high-ranking puppy, or cub is the correct term for them, then she will actually drag bits of meat back to the den, and she'll hope that her young ones will get some of that. But if they are higher ranking cubs, they'll get to feed first off that, and so they do indirectly help raise. And because of the clan structure, they're going to protect this den area and make sure that those young ones are protected all the time. So they help in that regard, but they don't provide any milk for them to feed them when they are very, very small. That will only be for the mother. And you'll find if the little one comes and it's not for hers, she'll actually chase it away and only wait until her little ones come before she allows them to suckle. But look at that face, isn't she cute? Like I say, they get such a bad reputation and they always get made out to be horrible, ugly animals, but I really like them. Cecilia, you want to know whether or not the hyenas drink human milk like us? No, they don't. Unfortunately, they don't have a shop that they can go to go and buy the milk like we do. So the milk comes from their mom. The mother will start to produce milk when she gives birth to them, and then they will come and they will basically suckle from their mother, and they will gain the milk from that. And they need their mother's milk because their mother's milk has lots of little organisms and bacterias inside it that will help them be able to digest and to be able to strengthen their immune system. So it's like if you take your vitamins, it's basically the same thing. They're getting all their vitamins from their mother, as well as microbes and bacteria that help just to digest all the things that they're going to eat later and keep them from getting sick. Alright guys, so we're probably going to move on from Gwen and leave her resting. We'll come back a little bit later and see if she's active. And while we do that, we're going to go across to Brent, who's on his bushwalk and has another little small spotted surprise.
Well, it seems to be an afternoon of spotted creatures. Spotted hyena, spotted